Boost Mobile highlights, and the Seiko watchtower clicked 3 o'clock and out they went. And onto the racetrack, which when they first went out there was very, very wet. And quite a few people found the edges, and worse when they got started. It's so wet and muddy out there. If you fall off the road at the moment, there's no coming back in a hurry. This is Shane Van Gisbergen, car number 97, our reigning Repco Supercars Championship champion. And he managed to get it back on with no damage done, but a lot of junk on those tyres and lots of mud and debris under the car. Jack Smith ventured wide down here at turn 1, car number 4, Brad Jones Racing, SCT Logistics. Dainty work on the wheel here to just try and keep this car straight. He doesn't disturb it with any lock at all, and he crept back on down there at turn 2. Cars, Mark made the remark at the top of the session, were in concourse pristine condition. A few of them were not when they came back at the end of it. In the earlier part of the session, Shane Van Gisbergen was very, very quick, and he was the first to venture onto a slick tyre. And he was the bravest. There are quite a number of rivers that are running across the track in a bunch of spots. One of them up at the top end of the circuit caught Nick Percat out. Brand new deal for him in 2022 at Walkinshaw Andretti United. He wandered wide, and his teammate at the time, Chaz Moster, was also in a giant slide. Cam Waters managed to miss all of the action then, thankfully. And a smart move by Nick to pull it over to the left side of the road and to not cover the racing line with mud and debris. That was Mark Winterbottom in car number 18. We were waiting for this lap to be completed because the early indications were that Anton was very quick, and he confirmed the number at the end of it with a 1 minute 33.2091, home by 0.19 of a second over Mark Winterbottom and Chaz Moster. But don't disappear, because if you like the sight and sound of a supercar, we're going to light up your television again for a few more minutes with practice starts. Here's Macaulay Jones. Harder to do on a warm tyre than would otherwise be the case when you're going out to roll out for the start of a race with a cold tyre. Cam Waters. Start sequence is very deliberate in the way they go about doing this. Nice start, energy conversion, and that was very good. Not a lot of wheel spin. Percat, he just flinched then. Box is rattling. Lee Holdsworth getting back in the game and practicing his starts. Todd Hazelwood the same now in the Mattstone Racing entry. Locking the brake, finding the bite point on the clutch, getting the throttle percentage right, and then just walking that thing off the line so that you don't bog it down, nor do you burst into too much wheel spin. They're getting a bit of help from above at the moment because it's now raining out there, which will make it something of a tricky exercise trying to practice it in these conditions because it's not realistic.
Pull up, exactly. Not worth doing now. So Anton will do one just in case that it is a damp start. So the only little bit of knowledge that comes from this is what do you do if it is wet? That wasn't wet enough. Some of these other guys that are pulling up there now, as you can see, there's just a bit of shine on the road from that sprinkling. It's actually more than a sprinkle at the front of the comp box now, isn't it? Actually raining quite hard.
It's hammering out there.
Yeah. So there's a few things to come out of that session. Di Pasquale, pace, unquestionable. The customer cars of Triple Eight seem like they've got better. So Winterbottom and Pye have done a good job to be second and fifth. Percat arriving at WAU is good for that organisation because they're third and fourth against Mostert. David Reynolds and that team look like they've come out going well. Will Brown's done a nice job for Erebus. Heimgartner was fast the whole session. So there's a lot of background away from Van Gisbergen. There's a lot of background stuff that looks good.
So as the rain tumbles down again at Sydney Motorsport Park, we'll check out the session results for you for practice number 1 of our brand new championship season, and a margin just under 0.2 of a second for Anton Di Pasquale. And when you look at his performances here last year, 5 victories and 7 poles. Remember, he had a swag of Armour All poles last year. He had 11 of them. So decent margin. Then Chaz Mostert, further behind him, Nick Percat, his new teammate, Pye, Reynolds, Brown, Holdsworth, Heimgartner. Feeney, good job to get in the top 10. Bryce Forward, brand new team for him this year, ahead of Cam Waters. Then Todd Hazelwood, Slade, LeBrock, Van Gisbergen down the order a little bit. There'd be a bit more of a story to that. Randall, Courtney, Davison, the two Kostekis, Brody and Jake, Jacobson, Jones, Pither and Smith.